Good. We've got 2 people zooming in.
Well, Cindy's coming in.
Cindy's coming in, and Ramona, do we know? We got it all working it. Hey,
Yes,
What did you just hit there?
but I just muted it.
All right, but we want to check.
I know muted her speakers because it's broadcasting what it's recording.
Okay, but we want to like dump this anyway, the recording, right?
Yeah, you can close that. Yeah.
That's what we said out there. Very good.
Ramona?
We don't need these.
Can you hear me?
Ah, there you
can.
are. Hi, Ramona.
I turned mine
Good
on.
morning. How is everybody?
Good
Morning, Ramona. Okay.
Oh,
Fourth
something went wrong.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I found you.
Okay. Okay. The fourth quarter meeting of the Appraisal Review Board is called to order. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, Chairman, we do.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is reenact on minutes of previous meetings. Do we have any minutes of the last meeting?
Yes, they should be on the Kindle.
Okay.
Okay.
What would they be under?
I think it would be under, the August 31st ARB meeting minutes.
I don't even see that. Under
Let's
agenda?
No. Right here.
Oh, look at, oh, thank you.
Did you see it? All right.
Yeah.
Cindy, you find it?
Yeah, we have motions.
We had a lot of meeting minutes
Oh,
to
that was
approve.
all those approvals. of
Oh,
those.
whoa.
That's basically what we did.
Those are actual like hearing days. You know, you open a meeting and you have, those are hearing days, right?
Right, when we had a meeting then at the end of the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's, we were cleaning up and just getting everything done.
Right.
Got it.
Tell me when you finish reading.
We're not we didn't take that, what's that course called that you take? Speed
Evelyn
readers?
Wood.
A long time ago.
Was
It's-
it
they-
Evelyn Wood? Was it really?
Evelyn Wood.
Well, the Evelyn Wood, but also they have it now. It's in
Oh.
Corpus, like it teaches your kid how to study.
Sylvan,
Thank you, Sylvan.
Sylvan Learning Centers, yeah.
He has his badge, but he doesn't wear it.
Oh my God.
Did we hear
Focus.
anything back?
Focus.
From either of the people that we sent letters to? Did we hear anything back from the review or anything? The two letters that are on the bottom here.
That's Rhonda Jones is the one I received today.
Uh-huh.
Kendra Smith and Rhonda, oh, you did get one from Rhonda
I
Jones?
just received, we just received a 2525D from Rhonda Jones just today. I mean, or it came in last night or something.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
A 2525D request, yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the meeting from August 31st, 2020.
Second,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Next item, citizens to be heard. There are no citizens.
Can you verify that there's nobody on Zoom?
Verify, they would be on this list. This is who's here, us and Ramona. We're
Okay.
going to ask
There you go.
again.
There are no appeals. Determine taxpayer and taxing appeals on all matters permitted by the fact there are no hearings. There are no hearings. Presentation and action on chief appraiser's motion for correction of appraisal roll.
Okay, this is the summary detail, and this is the,
No, that's supplements. This is chief appraiser.
oh, over here, gotcha, thank you very much. So the chief appraiser motion presentation, and it should be the same on your Kindle, right, in the same order? Okay, so the very first one that you have is Wandering Oaks, number 1, block 3, lot 4. It's 114 Dream Oak Drive. It was a clerical error for 2020, and it was an error of ownership for the years of 19 and 20. There was a warranty deed that was filed in May 31st of 2018, but for the property, but it had an error of ownership, so it did not transfer from Hogan Building Company to Matthew Dean Shea. So on June 17, 2020, there was a correction affidavit filed with the Aransas County Clerk's Office, which filed the transfer of the ownership. What we did is we actually put it into proper ownership, and we removed the developer's discount. That's the first motion. And followed behind it is the correction of the affidavit, the evidence that, like,
Just, yeah,
Yeah.
just you have that.
Okay, I'm
And that would
sorry.
go backwards
Yeah, we have to
back in
supplement,
time.
we had to go back in time and
Okay.
supplement that year. And we had to remove the developer's discount because it was in the ownership of the original developer. So both those things happen with this chief appraiser motion. The second chief appraiser motion is dated the 20th of July, 2020, and it's BPP of leased equipment to the city of Rockport. There was an inclusion of property that does not exist at the location described for the 2020 year. There was a late filing of a business personal property closure form. So somebody turned in a late rendition, said, I don't have that anymore, and we agreed. The next one is chief appraiser motion. Let's see, it's McCampbell, block 19, lot 6, in part of 0.133 acres, 1530 State Highway 188 Rockport. There's a clerical error for 2020. The error is that the city of Rockport annexed the property in ordinance number 1696 and adopted in December 13th of 2016, but the entity was not added to the roll. So this is one of those situations where from time to time, a city will annex a piece of area, and for whatever reason, this one got excluded, and now we had to include that property. The next chief appraiser motion is, again, this is in that same area. You can see that instead of lot 6, which was the previous one, this is parts of lot 5 and 6, and it's the same type of situation. It's an inclusion according to ordinance 1696 for an annexation, city of Rockport.
Mike, and I'm sorry, can I ask you something?
Sure, for sure.
Because it just occurred to me, okay. Because this is the taxes, these will be paid, I get it, before, it's supposed to be paid by the end of 2020, but the district or whoever gives until January 31st.
January 31st is the delinquency date. Yeah,
So the
or-
person who had the business that closed, I just need to think this through,
The
okay?
BPP, They will,
The business closed, that was what they were gonna pay for 2020,
which would have been
been
due,
this year,
would have been due on January,
31st of 2021.
that's correct. So they will receive a supplement bill with 0, or they won't have a bill in 2020 at that point.
Because the business, was this property in the business or because properties like
It's-
storage unit pay taxes or?
No, it's not anything to storage unit. It had to do with just a business personal product. It could have been,
It was personal
it could have
property.
been 10 phones
Got
in
it.
an office.
Okay, it was personal. Thank you. That's, I was like, wait a minute, how do you not have to, but it was personal property.
It's personal
Thank-
property.
I'm sorry,
No worries.
I'm sorry.
No worries. The next one is motion to correct, and this is for Cabot Oil Group, both 19 and 20 years, not specified mineral accounts, and then the actual identification numbers are listed right there. There's 15 accounts in all. There's an error of ownership for those years of 19 and 20. The Aransas County Appraisal District Mineral Appraiser Richard Navin submitted a 2019 appraisal roll form requesting that all interest from Cabot Oil Group be transferred to Texas Independent Explorer to correct an ownership for 2019 and 2020, and the ownership records will be corrected. So this is a situation where we get the appraisal roll from the mineral appraiser Pritchard Abbott, and they have ownership with each interest. This happened to be one that was kind of like a late filing of the other one. We just didn't have the right information. We're correcting it. The next one that we have is another BPP's recycling center. It says the business was closed, and so we're removing that for the years of 2016 through 2020. Okay. The next one is another BPP. It's US Constructors. Again, a late business closure form was filed. The next one is special inventory of HV Motors. Again, this was a late filing of closure.
HV Motors.
It was out on Highway 35. This is a short-term rental. Again, property removed from the roll because the email stating it would not be used as a business for 2020. So this was one in which you had a short-term rental. The assets inside were used for business personal property. again, they were, it was a late filing, said, no, we're not using that for short-term rental anymore. The next one is the short-term rental at Live Oak, 828 Live Oak. Property removed from roll due to late filing of business closure form. Again, they're not using it in that form anymore. The next one is on Boardwalk, St. Charles Bay, Block 1, Lot 32.263, 222 Reserve Lane, Rockport. This is a clerical error, an error of ownership for the tax years 2018 through 2020. The warranty deed with the vendor's lien was filed in the Ramsey County Clerk's Office, file number 352721, February 8th of 2017. The deed was incorrect and a correction affidavit was filed under 353516 in March 21 of 17. The changes in regard to the deed transfers done in 2017 were not made in the appraisal district records, meaning we missed that. So the property account will be changed to an undivided interest, one parent account at 8822167 with two child accounts 67333 and 8822170. The existing homestead will be tied only to one child property. So what you had is you had a deed that came through and then another deed that came through that made it an undivided interest that we missed. So you have one owner A as the first one, and then you have owner A and B on the second deed, and it made it into an undivided interest account. Owner A is the only one that gets the homestead because they're the only one that was
That fit the criteria
the
and filled out a form.
right. And so what we're doing is we're correcting not only the ownership, but then we're have to correct the homestead because it's only for half the property. And that includes the total of the chief appraiser motions. Okay.
We have a document that we need to sign to that effect, or is this just for the supplemental?
It's just a, you just make a motion that you'll
Okay.
accept it as presented or something.
Okay,
I make a motion that we accept this is the
Chief appraiser.
chief
Correction.
appraiser's motions for correction of appraisal roll presented today.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is report on joint motions to correct incorrect appraised value.
We don't have any joints. There's no joint motions for us to report on this current time.
Okay. Presentation and action on current and prior year supplements.
This is the summary of the certified roll changes of assessed value. These are the supplement changes. So you can look at it by group. So group number 313, it was a 2525 Bravo. And so it's just a clerical, there's zero value change. 314 certified roll changes, group 314 certified roll changes. The very first one was 4147, which is actually ARB determinations. That's stuff y'all were doing. There's 518,950
Sorry.
in the negative.
Okay,
There's
thank you.
settlements on protests that you can see. There's 97,000. And then there was a homestead cap on Bravo. You can see the total 562 and change. Group 315 is certified roll changes, 2525 Bravo. Again, there's no value change, just clerical, right?
Right, so when it has zero on assessed value, what that means is there were either splits and merges done or there were exemptions applied because the taxable value is going down. But as far as just changes to appraised value, there was zero.
There was zero change to appraised value. Group 316, you have chief appraiser motions from the last go round, or is that this go round, 94,000?
I'm sorry. I don't-
Chief appraiser motions, the 94,000, was that the ones I just presented?
Yes, there should probably be some. I don't know if it
Okay.
exactly correlates.
So in group 316, 318, and 317, you'll notice that there's chief appraiser motions. I just covered those right over here. And so some of those values are in each of those groups. Okay. There was a will to be corrected next supplement. There's a rounding error for a UDI, which is an undivided interest, and there's a homestead cap. in 316. There's also in 317, corrections to be made for 316. So there was an error that we had to correct and clean up. 317 also has a homestead cap. 318, group 318 is more cheaper appraisal motions that we covered here, a BPP rendered value and a homestead cap. 319 was removed because of no related data error, no related data layers. 320 was a freeze refreeze, so there was no changes in assessed value. And 321 was manual freeze calculations that had a net zero change. 322 had a 2020 freeze refreeze, no changes in assessed value.
When it says manual freeze calculations,
Uh-huh.
what does that even mean?
So
It's like manual, okay, that I can figure, but.
yeah, sometimes you'll have, in the past couple of years, let's see if I'm summarizing this right. In the last couple of years, we've had Harvey implications where we've had to look at the code and make sure that we're applying the freeze appropriately. We have to determine whether the subject property was a homestead prior to Harvey, and then they get the caveat of 25, not 25, where they get to rebuild over 5 years.
Right,
And then we make a determination whether that subject property was bigger or better. Basically, if it's 2323, I think it's F. 2323F, where we see if it's bigger or better. And then if we've made in either case, we look at that property. and
so if
say,
you if something just needed fixing, that's where you'd fix it?
right, it can be that, or it can be a manual freeze calculation in which there's undivided interest involved. And then you have to, like, if it was owned by Jones and now it's Jones and Smith, 50% ownership of the piece, you have to properly apply the freeze just to one half of it. So it could be a myriad of things along that. This particular one, the manual freeze calculation, there was a net zero to it's meaning that hypothetically it was 135,000 appraised value and it's 135 now. All we're doing is a freeze calculation that for something. Is that good?
Yeah, that's right. And the reason it's not, the reason it's done right there and it's because we have to wait until the 2020 tax rates come out. If something happens during the year, we can't calculate that freeze until the 2020 tax rates come out. So if you go to your detail, you'll see in the very last supplement, there's like 350 properties. And that's because, on your Kindle, that's because once the tax assessor collector puts in that 2020 tax rate for all the entities, then system-wide, we run a freeze, refreeze, they call it. And it's making the adjustments to the freezes that need to be done. The one right before that, you'll see just has a few, and that's where we say manual freeze adjustments. And that's because we couldn't do anything until we had those 2020 tax rates. Mhm.
Right, and just so you know, and you may not be aware of this, but in the freeze calculation, it looks over a 2-year period. So a person applies for they're over 65, they apply for a freeze, or they're a disabled person, that's another. So they apply for, they have a freeze that's due to them. They get to freeze the school and the city and the county and the county special, right? Those are freeze.
Right, if they're in the city of Rockport.
Yeah, City of Rockport, not City of Aransas. Well, City of Aransas past is not, and neither does County of Fulton. But in those entities, that's like the ceiling. They won't pay any more than that specific amount. Well, that levy, that actual dollar amount is calculated in a particular year, and then it's tested against the next year. And so let's say, just hypothetically, it was $13.51 over here, and this was $13.85. It's going to look at those two and test one against the other. It's going to take the lower of the two. And so when you see, this all happens behind the scenes. the net result is nothing happened to the appraised value at 135,000. It just happened to the levy and the free ceiling that's down here. It's a 2-year calculation.
The freeze is actually on tax.
It's on
not-
tax.
Not on appraised value.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, can I have a motion on the prior year supplements?
I make a motion based upon what we heard that we accept the current and prior year's supplements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, discussion and possible action on old agenda items.
Wait, Val.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, be sure and look at the other thing there in your supplements, which is the detail. And that lists like all of the people's names, the legal description of everybody that's been touched in a supplement. And it will also list if it was a 2525B or a 2525C on those lists, but it's called the detail. We just went over the summary of those lists that are
Right.
under that
We're,
other.
we're required to, the summary is kind of a some breakdown summary, but we're required to give you the ID, the section of the code, and the legal description and the value change for each. And it's listed in your thing. What we just went over was the summary. Yes?
So do we need to approve that summary listing, the supplemental
I-
detail?
No, you just
This
did.
is hard information.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, just so you'll
And
be
if
sure
you
to know
want,
that information's there.
and just know in the future, if you want to go over that list summarily, or I can go through this list. We can go page by page, and you can see that many of these, there's zeros after zeros after zeros, because there's no value change. There's just, when you see a value
Excuse
change, you can ask about it.
Mhm. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but there is change to taxable value on all those
That's the
because
reason
of
we have.
exemptions apply.
So what is the 1.111E? Because they're 2520.
Oh, right.
So is it that if it does have value, but it's is that what it is? That's why,
In these supplements presented today, there are a few that were, the motions that, or the hearings that were done and reductions in value that were done because of the hearings. Because we had to continue hearings after we certified. So all those had to go by supplement.
You're talking 4147.
Right.
41
one-
and then one dot, because like
E.
Steckler, I remember we did some Stecklers, but I don't know if it was this, but which has nothing to do with anything. I'm just wondering, the 1.11E.
It's a settlement, so
Got it.
rather than Steckler coming in for his hearing, it was settled by an appraiser.
Got it. So those are just the codes explaining how it was done.
Right, that ties
Basically.
to the tax code.
Yes. Okay.
Right, and 47 would be anything that the ARB heard and made a determination
Just a
on.
little later than, yeah.
So what's the one, okay, so one last one.
Yeah.
What's the 111.12?
That was, I believe, that they didn't appear for their hearing, but we still have to put it.
Oh, yeah,
through.
all of those have zeros, so that would make sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are all zeros.
Those are good questions.
Yes,
Action item taken on old agenda items?
I think we already, did we
Oh,
do it again or?
No, we didn't do anything
We
for
didn't
old
do any-
agenda items.
Oh, sorry.
And, it's not an old agenda item, but I do need some information today before we adjourn. I want to go over the Aransas County Appraisal District Appraisal Review Board terms and just make sure that everybody's okay. I've got the chairperson who is on for the 20 and 21 term.
Who's retiring effective at the end of this year?
oh,
You're retiring, okay? So retiring.
No, you can't, Charlie.
You can't do that, Charlie.
All right.
Huh?
Why are you doing that?
My tremor's not getting any better, and it's annoying,
It's not annoying to us.
but it may
It's
be,
not annoying to us at all.
It might be annoying to the people who come in.
So
No, it's not.
I don't think, actually, I don't
You
think
asked me that
anybody
last year,
even
and I
notices.
told you, and it was not.
Well,
I
Charlie.
don't-
If that's why you're doing it,
That's
then
what I'm
you need
doing.
to not do it. I'm serious. Your tremors
Okay.
do not bother. I don't
I
think.
never even noticed them.
Yeah.
Does she want you home?
No.
So Charlie's good. Charlie's good for another year.
So never mind. Okay, so just never mind what he said at first.
All right, so I'm checking that one. Cindy,
Yay.
you were on for the 20 and 21 term.
20,
You were finishing, we just finished 20.
20. Oh, yes,
You're good for 21.
yes.
Okay. Ramona,
Yeah.
finished up a 2-year term for 19 and 20. Do you want to re-up?
Yes, yes, keep going, Mike. Yes, she said yes. Okay, I heard.
Now, you
Yeah.
convinced me to stay.
No, I'll stay.
After like,
So in lieu of that, and thank you, Ramona, we have to present her, like I need to inform the board of directors that she wants to serve for another 2-year term for 21 and 22. And the board has to take action, and then that will be in place. I'll do that with the board prior to the end of this year.
Okay.
Kathy, I have you on for 19 and 20. Do you want to re-up for 21 and 22?
Yes.
Okay,
Hey.
so again, I will have
Yay.
to reach out to the board and
Is that, how many terms can you serve?
3, yeah, and
Unless they changed it.
yeah, it is 3 terms. Ramona's on her first 2-year term. You're on your second, so this next 2-year cycle, which will be 21 and
She
20.
did terms before, right?
yes.
She did, but she was off.
Took a year off.
And they've changed that from years ago. So now we're left with 2 3-year terms and that's it. I think that's what it is.
Oh,
And so Ramona, you're good because you just finished up your first 2-year term. Kathy, you're finishing up your second 2-year term, so you get 1 more. And then Cindy, you're on your third, this is the 21 is your third 2-year term. So you'll be rolling off in 21.
Ooh.
ooh.
You're,
No.
and you're not even in your third yet because you're just finishing out your 21. You'll be finishing out your 21.
Right.
And Robert, are you good for 20 and 21 to finish out your term? So Robert's good. All right, great guys.
We have the same board.
So just to be clear, Ramona and Kathy, I will present you, write that down for to the board of directors that you have interest to serve again, and then that they would make a motion and carry that forward. Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's all I've got.
Now, okay, so on that same leg, it probably won't happen in time to affect any of us, but there is I think it's a senator who is pushing heavily, very heavily, that appraisal review boards will have to be voted upon. Like there will have to be, just like there's a county commissioner for certain areas or a city councilman for certain areas, same thing, to where they have to be voted upon. And he's pushing real heavy for it.
Mm.
I've got the name and all that somewhere, but it
So
was,
people would actually run for the office?
Yes.
Why,
yes.
why would you?
I know, it's like.
Wait, consider the salary.
I know, oh my God.
Consider the working conditions.
And think how much money you'd have, oh yes, the beautiful, like, the beautiful,
I mean,
whatever.
they'll be lined up at the door to register.
You would,
They are requirements in some of those bigger districts where they have a plethora of like high-rise buildings and and like industrial complexes where they have lots of refineries. There are panels that are dedicated and they have to be like trained beyond. I mean, it's like crazy.
Are they paid? I mean.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I would think that they would be, because it's like a professional I mean, that's like a really
Yeah.
professional service. I'm not saying that you're not professionals, I'm just saying that the level of
Yeah,
expertise there is, the level of expertise at a chemical plant is different than what you hear on the day to day,
Yeah.
And
so.
speaking of pay, is December a good month for us to send the checks out for the year?
Sure.
If anybody earlier, let me know.
One
Yeah.
other item before, we adjourn is that, we did receive one 25-25, and we had another 25-25 delta, which is the over by more than 1/3. So those are hearings that have to be heard. Does this board want?
Before December?
Not necessarily. We have satisfied the requirement, and that's the reason for my question, is we've satisfied the requirement for this quarter, meaning that y'all have met this quarter. You can meet one more time and get those out of the way before January, or you can just do it in January.
My vote would be to do them and get it done, because it gets really confusing when you're doing 25-25 and then,
It's okay.
that's
Yeah.
that's just personally my vote though.
What do you
I
think,
mean,
Ramona?
I'm good with it. I'm going to be gone the week of Thanksgiving and the first week of December.
We'll make sure and do it outside of that timeline.
Well, let's see if we got a calendar here. We can,
Or even come up with several dates, and then that way we can check back and email.
Yeah, I need to check my calendar at home.
Yeah,
And
and
It's fine with me.
what would
I'm
be
gonna
our
here,
target?
October, I'd
December?
say get it done.
Well,
Let's just do
I
it in
think-
a week.
Yay.
Yeah, I think you'd be better off like putting it off in case we get one
In case you
next
get
week
more.
and we
Got
get one
it.
next month, and we just need to put
Got
it all
it.
in there.
Why don't we do it in December?
Yeah, what about December the 15th?
Well, maybe back it up a little bit.
That's good for.
What's
you,
the first,
Ramona?
are you the first week in
Second week.
December?
Yes.
So December 1st through the 4th is when you're gone, is that correct?
I'm actually leaving, I think the 6th. No, I don't know. Hold on. Let me pull it up.
I'd rather go like December 8th, 9th, or 10th.
Or early, because
Yeah.
once December gets going
Yeah.
and
I got
Okay.
kids coming home from college.
I'm leaving the 3rd and I'll be back on the 6th.
Oh, so we could do it the 8th.
8th, 9th, or 10th, that's up to you.
Yes.
8th is a Tuesday, 9th is a Wednesday.
let's
10th is
shoot for Tuesday, because
Let's go
Tuesdays
for-
seem to be good for us.
Tuesday's good for Ramona, right?
Tuesday's usually-
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So let's shoot for
Tuesday's
Tuesday the
Tuesday's
8th.
Is that
December the 8th, Tuesday, December the 8th.
December 8th.
Want to do
9 o'clock?
or
9
start at
o'clock.
8:30?
9
9
o'clock,
o'clock.
Val, just because you have to suffer doesn't mean. See how she tries to like, oh, did y'all say 8:30?
All right.
Okay.
I think that's all that was on our radar, right? No? Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
Wow, so we only have two 25-25s.
Up to now.
So far.
So far.
We have multiple arbitrations,
Uh,
which are not anything that you handle. It's handled through an outside source. We have multiple suits that is, again, not anything that you handle.
So the arbitration, is it literally an arbitration where you're on the phone now but normally you'd be in an office, they'd be in the same office, and you'd each have your attorneys, and then there's a mediator with
Yeah,
them?
there's a mediator arbiter in the middle, and they can be represented by themselves or somebody else. I could be represented by myself or somebody else. And it's another hearing for all practical purposes. And you present, it's basically a trial de novo. It's a
But
new-
do you do it here, or?
With the last several years, we've always done it either by Zoom or telephone conference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's always.
So it's no different now doing it by Zoom?
Yeah, the arbiters can be, like, the guy can be in Rockport or they can be in Houston. And then the arbiter can be in Dallas and I can be here. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just information, it's just a new hearing, that's all it is.
Well, because we did one with an arbitration with TWIA, and normally it's done in person.
Uh-huh.
Okay, at least, and I would, if any of y'all go through one or know anybody, tell them, do not do it by Zoom. Hold out because there's no, I'm not a person, I'm just a voice on the phone. And so it means nothing. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I think,
It's a lose for you, win for them.
yeah, I think that, the arbitrations are a little bit, they're set up differently. There's a prescribed thing in the comptroller's office, and so.
We
How
don't
many of our-
participate in
No.
those, right?
How many of our decisions went to arbitration
Of ours.
this year, this in 2020?
Well, for it to be an arbitration, you would have had to have rendered a decision. So they're all,
Right, so how many of our
how many
decisions,
we have 5 arbitrations.
we have 5 out of all we did?
Yeah, there's 5 arbitrations, and we have how many suits?
The suits, we probably have, I don't know, I can
Well,
look right here.
8 to 10, something
8 to
like that.
10?
So people
That is
do the
curious, how
suits
many people-
before they don't even try
You either
arbitration?
get arbitration or suits.
Oh, it's either or.
Are these all ones that, based on decisions that we made?
They
Yes,
have to be.
Yeah.
they have to be.
Yeah.
They have to be.
Oh, that's right, okay.
They have to
So
be.
remember, some people
Remember, there's
come,
protocol, there's, what's the term I'm looking for? Protocol, it's like you don't get, it's due process. They don't have due process unless they actually had a hearing. So that's why some people, they call top line, they just want you, they come in here and they go, I protest. And they don't show up, you do whatever, you either approve or deny.
but then they have the ability.
But there's a lot of people that they basically, they want you to render so that they can sue. They want you to render a decision so that they can sue.
Oh,
So it just happened to me.
And are those heard here in
No,
Aransas
lawsuits
County?
are, yeah, they're held in Aransas County, I think. Or are they filed wherever they're filed?
Well, they're filed here.
Yeah,
But
Well,
the
because it would be a
attorney handles
dispute
it.
here.
yeah, the attorney handles it. I mean,
I'm just curious.
District,
Yeah.
it's filed in district court
yeah.
here.
And so what happens is,
Those 4 district judges. that
there's
rotate.
lots of times where a suit won't come through, I mean, actually be finished for another 2 years. I mean, it just happens that way.
Just 'cause-
Now, the assessments, the forms that people filled out, when do we get the results of those? Or do we ever see the results for our own county?
We're looking for that number 1 again, as far as getting the
the
smallest,
top 10.
getting the most answered surveys.
Right, the comptroller sends us a recap for all the counties, and do you remember when we got that
I
last
don't
year?
remember when we got it. I want to say it was after the first year.
Yeah.
But it was
somewhere around there.
early. It was early in the year.
I want to say it was February-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and we'll be able to see our county in those
Yeah, for sure.
Statistics.
It'll all be displayed.
broken down
It will be displayed.
okay.
So
I just
we'll
like
all have to go
Yes.
through our training again in the spring, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
every
It'll
year.
be by Zoom or what?
I hope it's in person this time.
Yeah, I prefer.
Well, there's too many things that we get answers on when we go to it in person that we didn't get
Guess we'll
this
find
year.
out. What, is it usually in April now?
April or May, and Corpus, if it is where you can go, they do have it in Corpus or Victoria. And I get with y'all on that and see.
Corpus is easier.
Yeah, and Charlie drives us better to Corpus than he does.
I don't like Victoria. I get lost in Victoria. Okay.
Charlie
Is there-
got us in trouble one year is what I'm saying,
That
but
was-
I was trying to be nice. Oh, yes, it was.
The train.
I know, it was like, are you kidding me? A train too?
Yeah, that was because we went so far away from lunch.
No, it was the duck. It was the duck. That was the whole problem.
Do we have any other business to conduct?
This is the problem.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Victoria. We went
May I have a
from-
second?
we went
All in favor?
way far
Aye.
away for Chinese lunch, right?
Goodbye, Ramona.
Yes.
And
Bye. Y'all have a great day.
Well, you can, wait, Ramona, you can listen for this